think that the songs that's dropped from Davido always bang harder than songs that just has only Davido on them?
I really don't think so.
Do you think that this Davido's album that is coming would in any way or can in any way top the Morayo album?
I feel like Davido definitely wants to match that energy or even surpass it. So let's just wait. I can't give a verdict yet until I hear the entirety of the album.
Hi guys, welcome yet again to another exciting episode of Gusto's What's Happening, where we bring you all the gist, all the gossip, all the fan reactions. This is where we dissect everything and gist about it all. But you know that I would definitely not do this alone. I'm here with, let me use his word on him today, the ever delectable Pawe. Pawe, how you doing?
Yo people, what's happening? Lots going on. So yeah, I'm excited to be in front of your faces. Let's get into it.
Yeah, and you know, it's always excited to be with me and then in front of you guys, even though it's always denying it, but let's just take it like that. You guys, a lot of things have been happening in the space of Afrobeat, and today our focus is on, you know, two of the big fours. We have Davido and Wizkid in the gist today. So now let's start with Davido, where we've had, you know, Davido go into full album mode since the beginning of the year. Is, you know, tried as much as, for me, I would say yes, tried as much as possible to avoid any sort of controversy or anything that would want to look like is, you know, doing a strategic rollout for his album, the 5 album. But, you know, talking about the 3 singles that has come off this album, we have Awuke, we have Fonz, we have BDS still. Would you say that this is setting a good precedent for what, you know, the album would feel like or sound like when it finally drops?
Okay, I mean, there's been a lot of talk, you know, especially on the streets regarding, you know, Davido and the emergence of the 5 album.
Yeah.
Of course, less than a month now, we're gonna see the album actually drop. So yeah, that's quite exciting. And for the 30BG fans, they will really be excited. You know, comparisons flying here and there between him, Wizkid, Burna Boy, Rema. These things will forever be, they'll forever be a thing, right? So yeah, in terms of the projects that has dropped, Awuke featuring YG Marley, Fonz featuring Odumodu Black and Chike, and then we have Be There Still that just dropped. I really think that I like both Awuke and the Fonz song, probably because he has features on them, probably because, I mean, you know, the way that the delivery was, especially on the Fonz song. Chike's part was phenomenal. You know, Odumodu came with the Odumodu imprint, so we got to see a different side of these artists actually really go hard on this record. For Be There Still, I probably would say it's a decent record, but I didn't really feel it as much as, you know, I felt Awuke and Fonz. So maybe he's just trying to, like, you know, tell you guys or tell us or tell you watching that the album is going to be really loaded and is going to be like this. So I can't say in terms of whether those 3 songs are setting the precedent for, you know, what we're expecting or what is to come. But I really hope that it's going to be like one of the best albums to come out of the Davido camp, and I'm looking forward to all of it. Really, I'm looking forward to all of it.
I think everyone is really looking forward, and I feel like, you know, people are not looking forward to an album was dropped. They just want to say, okay, let us see what he can do, let us see what he has to do on this album. All right, wait, do you think that the songs that's dropped from Davido that has features on them always bang harder than songs that just has only Davido on them?
I really don't think so, because for me though, I think like right now Davido is trying to reach, you know, new depth, trying to actually cover more grounds. So he probably might not, you know, try to do things that he has done before. I mean, like, he has had standalone songs that has actually really like, you know, taking the street by storm. If, for example, it's only him on the record, Davido, for example, Davido, let's even talk, you know, I mean, from inception, the days that he actually started his career,
we have
like
Gobe,
you know. So I feel like right now, you know, because there's so much comparison right now, and of course he's actually in a tough fight with not just himself, he's actually in a strong, swift intense competition with Wizkid,
Mm-hmm.
Burna
Burna
Boy, Rema, and any other person you want to put in the mix. So there is this, I don't know what to call it, maybe like this really, really strong desire to outdo one another, outdo themselves. I mean, take for example now, during the time of, you know, the Morayo project, we saw a lot of collaborations on that project. And people were saying, yeah, the collaborations actually helped the project. Ashake was on it, Brent Fires was on it, Jasmine Sullivan was on it. I mean, we had like close to like 5 or 6 features on that project. So I want to actually root for Davido and say yes, he does better with, you know, people jumping on his project with him. I mean, but that's the essence, right? I mean, why? I mean, if you need a feature or you need somebody to jump on the project with you to make it sweeter and to make it sound harder, bury your word, right? I mean, that's the essence now. So why? I mean, I don't think that that's a bad thing, but you know, in terms of, you know, delivery, Davido will always deliver, even on a standalone song. I also want to think that Be There Still is a decent song, probably because of the previous songs that has dropped and the intensity they had. Awuke was quite an intense song.
Say that too.
Yeah, Fonz featuring Odimodu Black and Chike were quite like intense bangers. Remember, Fonz is actually still doing numbers. I think it's like number 5 on Apple Music top songs chart. The potency of the song that just dropped in terms of how big it is, you know, on the streets, I can't really say like it's as big as the other songs that has dropped, to be very honest. Yeah, but that's it. Yeah, it's still moving up the charts. Recency bias will be there. People still want to listen and all of that. And I feel like there should be like proper marketing around it. Probably we get to see it surge, you know, up in the charts, because, you know, these things are measured by charts. You know, it's a number game. Numbers, it's a number game. So yeah, I feel like it's a pretty decent record, and probably we get to see the entirety of Davido in the whole 5 album.
That's true. You know, when he dropped BDS Still, there was a particular fan reaction that I saw that said you would know a Davido song that he wrote himself, and I found that quite funny. Do you think that, you know, Davido might not really be doing great as a songwriter?
I don't think so, but of course, at the end of the day, we also have to come to terms with the fact that Davido is a fantastic person in terms of supporting writers. This is not the first time, right? We've had this conversation, and I don't think he doesn't even shy away from it. He gives credit to everybody who actually puts on the project, right? So Davido is not the type of person to hide away or shy away from the fact that he needs people on his project. I mean, he's been with Peruzzi for a long time, and it's no secret that Peruzzi wrote or writes most of his hit songs, right? And he has continued to do that. I mean, there's super amazing, talented, great artists who will always put a bunch of people on their hit records. Case in point would be Chris Brown, Beyonce, Adele, even herself. Adele, who's a fantastic, one of the best writers in the world, definitely gets writers to be on a project. So I don't think that it's a case of, oh, it's only Davido on the record, that's why it's sounding like that. You know, there are contributors, there are contributions in terms of even a one-liner could actually be the difference for an entire song. So whether he's the only one that wrote the song or he's not the only one that wrote the song, it doesn't change anything. One thing we know is Davido is a fantastic songwriter. He's a fantastic singer. But I also want to take something that Chris Brown has said. Chris Brown said one time in an interview, he said, you know, everybody can write fantastic songs, but nobody sings it better than I do. You know, so it's such a big boast, such a big brag, you know, big brag thing, you know. And Davido comes correct with actually delivering, because if his delivery wasn't good, a lot of people won't actually listen to him till now. So yeah. I feel like it doesn't really change. Yeah, it's true.
And I think that, you know, when Davido drops songs that really do not meet people's expectations, it's because they are beginning to set the standards for him by, you know, the major hit songs that he has dropped. I feel people were expecting something as intense as Awuke and Fonz. That's why they feel like BDS Still is not, you know, something of,
but that's why
huge substance.
But I think that's why it's an album. An album will put you in different fields. Right, it's not an EP.
Maybe because he's still dropping, you know, singles. Maybe when he drops the entire album, now we don't understand that.
Because truth be told, Sugar, sometimes if you want to drop like a short form project, like an EP, for example, you want to put your best banging songs. Yes. Right. But in terms of the project is like a journey. Like an album is like a journey. It takes you in different directions, and that's why if you see on a project like an album, for example, you will not see the same amount of streams with the other songs.
Yeah.
You might see Awuke featuring YG Mali doing millions and millions, maybe let's say 10 million, and probably you see Bide still doing maybe like 5 million. There are 5 million people who actually like that sound and feel it, right? You see other songs doing lesser numbers, doesn't make them not great songs, you know, because music itself is subjective. So people would definitely vibe to music different way. But in terms of a hit record, Davido will deliver hit records. He has actually even done it. I don't think there's anything left to prove. We're just really excited about the album, and we can't wait to see all of it.
That's like really, really great. And I feel like people will just need to maybe bring down the standards a bit so that they will not be disappointed. Because I feel like, you know, when you have very high expectations, that's when it feels like you get very disappointed. But I feel like people should just be open-minded. You guys need to be open-minded. So that
not with FCs and 30 BGs. Open-minded. You're asking FCs to be open-minded. 30 BGs. You're asking the outsiders to be open-minded. You will never get it.
They're always setting the standards, and I think that's why you guys are like always disappointed. Be open-minded, open your minds. So now let's talk about rollout strategies. We've really not seen anything from Davido that we can point out to be, I think he's trying to, you know, give a strategy to roll out this album or this project. Do you think that Davido might, you know, be working on something and just shock us and just say, okay, they're about to drop this project?
I really don't think there's anything cast in stone for David, because in terms of rollout strategy, this guy has just been showing up. He has been to major events, you know, just been there. I mean, last time he was at the iHeartRadio Awards. He didn't actually even cop an award for the night, but he did show up.
He
right?
did.
He was at the Paris Fashion Week the other time. So he's just been showing up. I don't think there's a thematic style to actually his rollout strategy. I beg your pardon. So I feel like he probably might just be trying to delve away from the regular type of rollout strategies. Davido did not clear his pictures. Like other people do. He did not remove everybody from following or follow. So I think for me, he's trying to like do things quite organic, but of course there definitely is a plan. There is a plan, because you will never drop an album without a specific rollout strategy. Is impossible to have that. But right now I feel like it's still actually in the early days. And he's been showing out, he's been shouting about the album. Every time he's always tweeting, every time he's always posting. And I feel like he's really, really excited about the album. You can tell from everything that he does online. You can tell from everything that he tries to do, you know, with a lot of people taking on. I see every time that he even reposts a lot of people, like people doing dance challenges to even his recent record, Be There Still. So there's really not much he can do. David is just his own person. I don't think he's trying to force it down our throat. You know, at the end of the day, he's going to drop the 5 album, definitely will drop. And he's probably going to wait for our reactions and obviously, you know, wait for what the street is going to say regarding that album. But I think that there's no cast in stone about how you're supposed to do it. The album will definitely drop. And probably when it drops, we get to see, you know, different things being done. You know, definitely there'll be videos. I think there was a video that popped up, you know, the internet about them shooting videos for that project already. We don't know what song that video is about, but you know, all of these things are in the works, and I dare say that this album is going to be one of the best Davido albums yet. We really hope it is. We're expecting it. All right, so wait, talking about reactions, do you have any, you know, reactions that has actually stood out to you on the internet that you want to read out? There've been a few. But I mean, starting with excitement for the album, Rito on X says the biggest African album is coming. That's quite a huge buzz. That's huge. But I mean, the expectation is that it's going to be the biggest album. And of course, it's been tipped that there have been a couple artists that definitely be on this project. Names like Omale, Victoni, Shensia, Becky G, Tacy, 450, Victoria Monet. I don't know how exclusive, allegedly. That's what I'm no be me talking. If I thought there's a Victoni and Omale, I think those tracks that has those two are the ones that I really want to listen to. The sound setting, you know, because Omale, the whole conversation about Omale has been quite a long time, you know. And Blessing says on X, song we go flop like okra soup. The audacity that people have on the internet can be so alarming. Everybody has their takes. It can be so alarming. You know, and then Peroxy said the greatest album to be released by any African. And of course, Best Life says incoming flop on arrival. I think these guys are serious FC fans. Of course, he has a picture of Wizkid on his profile, so it just
by their
says
profile. You should know them.
It just says that. These are just a few comments, coming from David's announcement of the 5 album. Of course, it's going to drop in less than a month. So we're like a few days away from the release of this amazing project.
Yeah. So I saw one that said, "Oh, this is the album that would actually give Davido his Grammy award." I mean, that's some sort of manifestation while waiting. But like I said earlier, guys, reduce your expectations. This is not to say that Davido cannot drop something huge, but if you reduce your expectations, it helps you to not, feel disappointed if at all it's not matching your vibe or what it is that you want to listen to. Alright, guys, let us know in the chat box what exactly you think about Davido's incoming album. If you think it's going to be a flop, like some of the fans have said, and if you think that this is the album that will actually give Davido that Grammy award that you guys have dragged him by the hair and ear and nose by over the years. From December to January to February, we had fans on the internet trolling Wizkid saying, "Oh, you are not serious with your Morayo album. How can you drop an album? There is no music video. There is no tour. There's no promotion." And then he obviously dropped the Kese music video, which people still dragged him by. Like, why did you direct this thing? You should have just allowed somebody else to. You didn't do well. Why some say, "Oh, this is quite decent for a Wizkid direction." Now, do you think that, and recently it's also announced that finally their tour date is going to the Morayo World Tour. So do you think that Wizkid might actually have anything up his sleeves, like something that we might not be expecting, and it just comes to shock us? Or if at all of this thing, like not promoting the album, acting nonchalant, might be a strategy?
I don't want to believe that acting nonchalant is the word to describe Wizkid's style of actually promoting his album. Okay. First off, he's just full of surprises. Wizkid's type of person that you never really expect when he wants to speak or when he's speaking or anything like that. So he's always been that type of personality where it's just different cards that Wizkid will actually put on the table, and you will never catch Wizkid by the hand, to be honest. And the Morayo album dropped, and of course a lot of people have been talking about that one, the success of it, and maybe it's a flop, not the biggest album yet. MIL is doing better and all of that. Those comparisons definitely will come. In terms of his rollout strategy and the way he's been going about the album, it's actually personal to him. None of us saw Wizkid actually directing his own
music video.
For a song as big as Kese, that's one of the biggest songs on the Morayo project.
Yes.
And this brother says, "You know what? I'm gonna direct this video." And of course, he met a lot of people actually holding him by the neck and saying, "What is the meaning of this? What kind of video is this? This is actually like one of the biggest songs, and you are doing this." We feel very disappointed with you. So Wizkid is always full of surprises, and of course he's announced his Morayo tour, the US tour, Canada, and I mean it's going to be quite an amazing one. But in terms of nonchalant, but I don't think it's been nonchalant. I think it's just the way he really goes about promoting himself and does his things. Of course, he has a whole team around him. Jada, amazing manager, mother of his boys and girl, Machalina. Congratulations to Wizkid. Anyways, even though that one is not official yet, but we know one thing is for sure: Wizkid's rollout strategy is always top notch, and I'm also particularly looking forward to the tour because he's been really quiet, to be very honest. Quiet. He's just been showing out, and for me, I just think maybe he's just cancelling a lot of shows to just focus on the tour. And
he's not even showing up at the major fashion shows. Exactly. We had the Paris Fashion Week. I don't think Wizkid was
because let's actually get into it, right? Wizkid will definitely get invited for such events.
Definitely.
Because if we're getting people like David, people like Omale to be invited to all these big events, Wizkid is definitely up there. So I think he's cancelling all these things to actually focus on the tour. I want to believe so because he's not really like showing up at those big parties. He's just in Lagos, driving his Ferrari around, wearing singlet, and actually just enjoying himself. So let's see what happens, especially with the tour.
That's true. Let's see what you guys let us know what you think, about Wizkid's rollout strategy. If you think that it's still there, for me, I feel like it's still the best yet. You know, aside from when he comes online and, you know, maybe want to drag somebody, especially when he drags Davido and they go head to head. So you guys also in the chat box what you think about, you know, Wizkid's style, you know, how he goes about his promotion, his quietness, everything around his music and promotion. Always also in the chat box what you think about this. Wrapping up the whole conversation, do you think that this Davido's album that is coming would in any way or can in any way top the Morayo album?
Are you asking me or are you asking the fans?
I'm asking you. They would also let us know.
I don't know.
Think.
I don't know. I don't know.
Predict.
Okay, to just be safe, I think the Morayo album is quite a decent album.
It is. It's actually very big.
Yeah, it's a big album. Of course, has amazing songs on it, and I feel like Davido definitely wants to match that energy or even surpass it. So let's just wait. I can't give a verdict yet until I hear the entirety of the album.
Okay, you guys let us know what you think about this. And if I'm going to look at the history of, you know, Davido and Wizkid dropping albums, Wizkid is always dropping first before Davido now drops. So you guys let us know in the chat box if you also think that it's possible that Davido might just be understudying Wizkid's project and be like, okay, I've seen this one, I need to do better. And that's where we'll have it, guys, today. Thank you so much for sticking with us till this very moment in the conversation with Paul Way on Gusto's What's Happening. I will see you in the next one. Bye.
Bye, guys.